to head into the Zoom room where we're going to the National Weather Service for an update on Tropical Storm. Is it Surigay, Landon?
Surigay. That's pretty close. I've heard different pronunciations, and I think one of the hardest decisions we have in the world of meteorology, especially in the West Pacific, is learning how to pronounce these names. And so this is all comes from the World Meteorological Organization Typhoon Committee. That's a list of names contributed from 14 different countries that submit these names, and then they go onto the list of tropical cyclone names for the tropical Northwestern Pacific Basin. So as you remember, back in 2019, November 2019, we hosted the Typhoon Committee annual conference here on Guam. That was our first time doing so, as a couple from my office, including myself, were part of that Typhoon Committee on several different working groups. And so we have the opportunity to work and collaborate with people across the Pacific Basin. So it's pretty exciting. So just a little bit on this latest tropical storm. And I think, Jason, you're bringing up the satellite picture. There you go, Jason. I just spoke to my office. They are working up the latest advisory. That's advisory number 6 that will be going out. It's usually due by 8 o'clock, but there are some decisions being made regarding Palau. If you see that in the image on the lower southwest corner, this image is Palau, and then up in the northeastern part, that's Guam. That thing is still spinning. It's a tropical storm, and it's been proceeding pretty much as we expected. A slow crawl toward the west-northwest. Not much change there. The good news for folks in the Palau and western Yap state is that it's been a slow, gradual development process. But the bad news is it's been moving so slowly toward the west-northwest. So I just spoke to the office, and they are making some changes to the warnings and watches we have in effect. Overnight, we did have a tropical storm watch for Koror, Palau, and Kayengo to the north of Koror, as well as a tropical storm warning for Nulu Island and Yap State. We're going to maintain the tropical storm warning because some of that convection on the eastern side of this tropical storm looks like it's going to be sweeping around the eastern periphery of that inner core, and that could be coming up towards Nulu. This is one of the complexities that we have to watch out for these developing tropical systems. For us, it's an easy decision for Guam because it's well out of our area. But for Palau and Yap, we do have to keep that in mind. So we are raising a tropical storm warning for Kayengo because this thing's going to be moving slowly west-northwest. And so this tropical storm force winds are likely for the northernmost islands of Palau. We're thinking right now, based on what we're looking at in the models and the analysis, the strongest winds will keep to the north of Koror, Palau itself. This is going to continue. I'm going to flip over to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center graphic. This is the latest on advisory number 6, and this is from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. This is showing that gradual motion. We have a lot of questions coming from the Philippines. This is going to be another Filipino storm. Is it going to hit Mindanao? Is it going to hit Central Philippines? Right now, this is expected to curve gradually towards the northwest and then make a turn toward the north, keeping to the east of the Philippines. However, any further westward motion than currently forecast would scrape it along easternmost Philippines. So we do have to keep that in mind because these things do change direction and can adjust their course each day in the subsequent model run. So right now it's currently projected to stay out into the Philippine Sea and well to the west of Guam over here. Now, specifically for us, we were hoping to get a little bit of rainfall out of this system, but the mid-level ridge just to the north of this tropical cyclone, that kept it suppressed more toward the south. So it never made that turn to the north, passing through Yap and then going into the Philippine Sea. It kept going towards the west-northwest. That's going to keep it farther away from Guam and the CNMI. So our rain chances have significantly been limited. The bad side for that is it's going to allow our fire danger to continue to increase because of limited rainfall across the region. The other thing is the winds will stay up. So as our fire danger increases with lack of rainfall, the winds will be up just a little bit, moderate to fresh in the coming days. So watch out for that. We might be issuing fire weather watches and red flag warnings in the coming days. The other thing is, as this thing intensifies, this larger wind field around, and that's one thing we've been keying in across Palau and Yap State, is even though this is the center of motion, and I'm gonna go to our last graphic here, even though this is the center of the circulation, the wind field is very broad around the system. So this hashed blue area, those are tropical storm force winds now reaching over Kayango and then just to the edge of Nulu and then back to the north side. The broader wind field howling westerlies across Palau, and these are turning up across the eastern and central Yap state. Those are all generating a large fetch of swell and wind waves. Eventually, that's going to make its way to our area this weekend and early next week. So where do we look as far as our seas? Well, right now at Retidian Point, we have our dominant north swell and a northeast trade wind swell. That's going to be shifting in the coming days. We're going to start seeing a little targeted area of waves coming in, energy coming in from the 240 to 210. That's going to be that southwest swell building towards the end of the week and over the weekend. Will it become hazardous? Well, it depends on how strong those winds are on the south and eastern side of Tropical Storm Surigay. That could generate hazardous surf for us along south and west facing reefs. And if we look at the model data here, I always show this on Monday mornings with you all. This is what our forecast looks like, the purple line. So we're expected to climb. Our combined seas and swell will be climbing in the days to come. Right now, our guidance is a little bit lower than what we're observing at the Retidian buoy. And if that continues, we'll definitely reach hazardous surf conditions along south and west facing reefs come early next week. So keep that in mind. The weather will be fine out there, but the large, longer period swell could generate hazardous conditions along south and west facing reefs of Guam and the CNMI. So that's the biggest thing that we have to be concerned about as far as our impacts from this tropical storm. Will it become a typhoon? Yeah, we are looking at that expectation to continue. Like I was saying yesterday in some of our broadcasts, it was pretty not the best organized system for a tropical storm, but it's expected to get its act together and could intensify dramatically in the coming days. So we could see it becoming a typhoon sometime on Friday, perhaps, as it moves well away from Guam. So are we going to have a direct tip from this? Not at all. So that's a popular question we have to our Facebook page from Guam. Is this going to be a problem? Not necessarily, just the season surf next week.
Okay. Well, thank you, Landon. Thanks for that. Yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And take it easy. There you go. Landon Ilett of the National Weather Service, forecasting from home.
He's been doing that well before 2020.
Right.
All right. And in national news, investigators